Chris, after watching and listening to Phil Jackson speaking at his press conference today, do you believe he can change the culture at the Garden?
I thought Phil cut a pretty imposing figure at the press conference today, and now it's pretty clear for the first time since Donnie Walsh left who is in charge at Madison Square Garden. Now, all that being said, there's a long, long way to go throughout this process. Phil made it clear that he was going to spend some time in Los Angeles, that he's not necessarily going to be the guy that scouts teams, scouts college games, that winds up traveling all over the world because of his health concerns that are going to be an issue. He's got to hire people and put people in place that are going to be able to do that. Steve Mills, great guy, would have made a great executive director of the Players Association if he had wanted that job. But is Steve Mills somebody that can go head-to-head with a Sam Presti, with a Daryl Morey, with an R.C. Buford, any one of these number of great young executives in the NBA? I say no. I think Phil's the first step and the biggest step for Phil Jackson is going to be trying to hire people that can do the job and compete with the people that he's not going to be traveling around the world going up against.
Well, yeah, we saw that Steve Mills is going to stay on as general manager in title. They also said that they believe they can turn this team around by mining other NBA teams, guys who are on benches on other places, guys who are all throughout the league, kind of deferring that college scouting to other people, saying he believes there are guys in the NBA now who can make the Knicks better. Is that a smart strategy?
No, it's not a smart strategy. You got to get better through the draft. Now, the Knicks can do that now because they don't have draft picks. They have a draft pick next year, and they have another one in 2018. But, you know, they don't have the plethora of assets that other teams have to rebuild through the draft. But ultimately, you do have to get better through getting draft picks. Tim Hardaway Jr. was a very good draft pick for the Knicks. He's going to be part of this team's core going forward. Iman Shumpert a couple of years ago was a very good draft pick for the Knicks. They can talk all they want about picking the crap off rosters of other teams, but, you know, you have to get better through the draft ultimately. And I think it's short-sighted if the Knicks don't look at that and say that's the direction we need to take.
Phil Jackson really taking a cut at the coaching staff of the Knicks, saying that the team was making high school and junior high school mistakes in terms of their footwork, in terms of their passing. In the same breath, also says he believes Carmelo Anthony can take it to another gear. Is this a good pitch for Melo to stay in New York?
Well, I think Phil Jackson being there is going to be a strong reason for Melo to want to come back. I mean, Phil provides stability one way or the other. The aforementioned problems are still there, but with Phil Jackson there's championship credibility at the top of the organization. We all know that Mike Woodson's gone. You know, if they can pay lip service to each other all they want, but Mike Woodson is not coming back as the head coach next year. From what I'm hearing, more likely than not, Steve Kerr is going to be that guy that Phil taps first to see if he wants to be the head coach of the Knicks. Steve's a very smart guy, but again, Maggie, we're talking about a coach with no experience on the bench and a top executive with no experience doing that job. This could be a pretty rocky process, at least for the next couple of years.
One of the reporters asked in the press conference how long it could take to turn this team around. Kind of sidestep that one. How long do you think it could take? And actually, Phil's saying he believes the Knicks could make the playoffs this year.
Well, they could make the playoffs this year. They should make the playoffs next year. The Eastern Conference is terrible. I mean, Atlanta's trying to back their way out of that final playoff spot. The Knicks, I mean, they've won 6 straight. They should, find a way to power their way into it because they do have more talent than most of the teams at the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings. And if they meet their expectations next year, they should make the playoffs next year. But this team is in such a disarray. I mean, almost the entire roster next year is going to be up for a contract extension. They'll all be free agents in the summer of 2015. Next year could be a pretty rocky year as they gear towards the summer of 2015. They'll have all sorts of cap space like they did in 2010, and a whole bunch of guys like Rajon Rondo, LaMarcus Aldridge, and others are going to be free agents.
They asked the fan base for more patience, and James Dolan saying he is gratefully and willingly handing over and ceding power to Phil Jackson. Music to Knicks fans' ears.
Let's see if that actually happens, though. I sat there in the Garden in almost the exact same spot in 2008 and heard Jim Dolan say the exact same things about Donnie Walsh. And Donnie Walsh lasted 3 years before he was shoved out the back door. Let's see if this actually happens first. Let's see how Jim Dolan reacts the first time, mid-December of next year, when Phil Jackson does an interview with the LA Times and tells everyone the team stinks.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this clip from our daily live show, SI Now. You can find a link to the complete episode in the description box below. And while you're there, make sure to subscribe to Sports Illustrated's YouTube channel. Remember, you can watch SI Now Monday through Friday live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time only on SI.com. We'll see you there.